Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sportfish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Texas Department of Agriculture estimates that pigs produce $52 million a year in agricultural damage alone.
There are a lot of people whose history hasn't been recorded, and it's that piece that is very exciting.
The Fuentes were nice enough to let me tag along with them and follow them with a camera for 5 days. Probably not what they had in mind for their vacation.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, taking Texans outside for 30 years.
Okay, let's go.
It's roundup time at Kerr Wildlife Management Area.
Okay.
Not for cattle, but for trapped feral pigs.
Hold back a little bit, just hold back. Even though we're wildlife biologists and technicians, this is new for us. We're learning a lot from these pigs on how to handle them, and we're always upgrading our facilities.
While these animals have descended from domestic livestock, today they are completely wild, which can make them a little dangerous.
They almost always try to get away from us. However, they certainly can hurt you if they did charge you. We can both go in if you want.
Yeah, let's go in.
Okay.
Corralling wild pigs is a risky and inexact science.
Notice how close we stay to these fence poles.
But the science of feral pig control is what brings Justin Foster and crew here.
The research that we're conducting here is an investigation of some pig toxicants for wild pigs, feral hogs.
A toxic bait, successfully tested, could help keep feral pig populations in check.
Hippa! Better find a tree, hippa! It would certainly appear there's exponential growth going on.
The fact that a humane pig pesticide is even being explored is a measure of the problems these animals pose, economically and ecologically.
Here they go, going into the gate. Close it! Woo! All right.
Feral hogs have proven to be a major problem throughout Texas. Years ago, feral hogs were mainly in South Texas, along the coast, and in East Texas, but they're basically all across the state now.
Texas Department of Agriculture estimates that pigs produce $52 million a year in agricultural damage alone. Those estimates go way higher than that whenever we start talking about all of the damage that is incurred annually. The impact is very significant.
After a good rain, when it's nice and soft, they'll come out here and root it all up. These are pretty minor.
Hog hunters like Philip Koger have seen it all.
Once they do this, it turns the roots up and it doesn't grow back.
Helping prevent damage to pastures, crops, and fences is part of the appeal for Philip.
See where they've torn this fence up, coming through. Tear up your fence, then your cows get out, and then you got a whole nother situation.
But pursuing pigs isn't just damage control.
Stop them along here. The thing that's nice about hunting hogs is you can do it year round. They're good on the table. There's no bag limit, so it's not like you get one and you're done for the year. They're a worthy adversary.
On this particular morning, the adversary remains hidden, while plenty of deer take the bait.
Wrong species.
But by evening, in the pasture nearby, Philip sees a hog.
Come on, take a shot. That's a dead hog.
Philip estimates he has taken 2 to 3 dozen feral hogs from this property, one tipping the scales at 265 pounds.
That's a big hog. They don't have any natural predators other than me.
That means farmers and ranchers need all the help they can get.
They just want them gone. I've got about 3 or 4 other properties I hunt on with different owners, and they all feel about the same way. A female can have 3 litters a year, and if half of those are females, it gets exponential. They can do some serious damage overnight.
Even dedicated hunters don't believe they alone can overcome the amazing ability of hogs to reproduce.
They say there's 2 kinds of counties in Texas, those with a hog problem and those that are about to have a hog problem. And Central Texas has a hog problem. It doesn't hurt, but we're not going to eradicate them hunting them. Not with trapping or traditional hunting.
Although trapping can be successful on a local level, it doesn't really have very wide impacts.
And that is why the research being done at the Kerr management area could be so important.
Let's go, pigs. Nationwide and internationally, there are lots of people working on this topic. And we are very optimistic.
You ready for pig number 2?
Yes.
When we put them in that pen,
Send that one to pin 21.
we're trying to work them as efficiently as we can to reduce stress on the animals. Our technicians have come up with a way to work these hogs individually.
The animals are separated into different research groups.
He stays here.
To identify them, some are also marked with a non-toxic paint.
Yeah, X on that front one. It can be quite a rodeo at times.
Ooh. We're marking these hogs so that we can determine which hogs are at which feeder and for how long.
To Daniel's credit, it is kind of hard to paint them when they're fixing to snap your arm in two. Let's go. Whether it be a placebo bait or an actual toxic bait, the identification of those individual pigs helps us to explain the effect of our treatments.
Right now we're entering into some taste trials basically to see if this is something that those hogs will readily eat. We have remote cameras set up, so as they come into those feeding areas, those cameras begin to take pictures.
It allows us to get some sleep at night, but it also allows us to sample those pigs in more of a natural setting. There should be a strong correlation between the amount of time spent consuming the bait and a lethal effect.
In many ways, the active ingredient being tested appears ideal.
Intoxication by sodium nitrite would be considered clinically humane. There's not lots of vocalization, it's very rapid. Sublethal doses don't really appear to have any long-term effects.
The ingredient is also inexpensive and harmless enough to humans to be used as a food preservative. But at high doses, it blocks the uptake of oxygen in the bloodstream to lethal effect. So finding a way to deliver it only to pigs is also part of the study.
Target-specific delivery is what we're trying to achieve whenever we're delivering a toxic bait. The hog hopper keys on the natural rooting behavior of the feral pig by using a vertical sliding door. At the same time, the weight of the door limit other non-target species from access. This project has lots of collaborators, the Texas Department of Agriculture, the USDA, our counterparts in Australia.
The research continues, with the hope that in years to come it will provide a new means of controlling feral pigs, more efficiently and affordably than ever.
Trapping feral pigs consumes a lot of time. Flying a helicopter is very expensive. That is the ultimate goal for private landowners, resource managers to have access to another tool in the toolbox.
Regardless of research outcomes, hunters aren't likely to run out of landowners looking for help controlling wild hogs.
The wild pig is certainly here to stay.
So folks like Philip continue to do what they can. One hunt and one barbecue at a time.
It's a lot more fun than going to the grocery store. You always have lots of friends. Not so much when it comes time to clean them, but when it comes time to pull them off the smoker. There's lots of people show up then.
This project was funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife Restoration Program.
Within the State Parks Division of Texas Parks and Wildlife, I'm the point person for the historic sites.
Cindy is our Historic Sites and Structures Program Director. She supervises 3 employees that provide support to our state historic site staffs and programs across the state.
It's got all these different guys in different positions just crawling over that building.
Not many people can cover history in a very academic fashion, which she does very well.
History is oftentimes written by the winners, and there are a lot of people whose history hasn't been recorded, and it's that piece that is very exciting.
I've spent quite a bit of time just trying to trace the fence lines, which is...
Maybe that's what the oral history would help with.
She just keeps broadening the scope of what we do to make the stories that we're trying to tell more interesting, making sure that they're really enriching the whole experience of visitors.
History keeps us honest. A good historian can take facts and can connect them, and from that you get meaning.
She's an ambassador for what we do and the mission that we have to care for these resources. She enjoys what she does. She's passionate about it.
She has managed to bring funding in over $1 million in outside grants.
This was a grant from the National Park Service, and based upon that, we were able to write a successful grant to Texas Department of Transportation, and now we're going to be able to improve the sites that Texas Parks and Wildlife operates along the Camino.
This is my report for the custodian's cottage at Goliad State Park. It's a great.
She's a great boss. She is always ready to help and listen and offer advice and support. She's great to get along with. We have fun at work, which I think is very important. And I feel very fortunate to have her as a mentor and colleague.
I get to work with some really smart people. They don't know the same things that I know and vice versa, and so you can really make things happen there.
I know that her work will stand the test of time. It will help Texas maintain and keep her heritage for the years to come.
I feel very happy to be where I am. That should be evident. I really feel like I landed in just the right spot.
Okay.
It was 30 years ago that the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series, originally known as Made in Texas, got its start. Don Cash is one of more than 30 producers, photographers, writers, and editors who have contributed to the show since its first broadcast in 1985.
I'm Don Cash. I'm one of the producers for the Texas Parks and Wildlife television show. I've been here since 1998. In 2008, I did a story on the busiest park on the busiest weekend, which would be Garner State Park on the 4th of July. And I started talking to a man named Marcos Fuentes from Corpus Christi.
Got my windshield pass right here.
And he was there with about 30 members of his family, cousins and aunts and uncles and kids friends.
Garner State Park!
The Fuentes were nice enough to let me tag along with them and follow them with a camera for 5 days. Probably not what they had in mind for their vacation. I had breakfast with them, I had lunch with them, I had dinner with them, I went swimming with them, and I just had a great time with them, and I consider them to be friends now. So one of my favorite stories was 4th of July weekend with the Fuentes family.
Get in there! Oh.
It's another busy weekend at Texas' busiest state park. All summer long, the campsites at Garner State Park are just about full.
Look at my marshmallow!
This 4th of July weekend is no exception.
I've worked at 5 different state parks. I've managed 3 different state parks. But I've never seen another park that operates like this one due to just the mass numbers of people.
Just an hour's drive west of San Antonio, Garner State Park is known for its spectacular vistas and sparkling waters. Hundreds of thousands of visitors flock here each year to hike to the top of Mount Baldy, swim in the cool, clear waters of the Frio River, and dance the night away.
Some of the families have been coming here since the 40s. They come every 4th of July. It's a big deal.
Yeah, that's us and Mary Lou. So we're going to be across the street from each other.
Eric is going to be with us.
In 1989, Marcos and Nancy Fuentes made their first trip to Garner. They've been here every year since.
We take vacations throughout the year, but the best vacation is when we come to Garner.
Now, their group includes not just their family, but some of their closest friends as well.
Yeah, one year I think we maxed out like 70 people, which is just all Fuentes family and friends.
Well, we didn't quite count, but I would say we have at least 35 people here this weekend.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Every year, they make their reservations 11 months in advance.
All right.
We got up around 2:30 this morning. That's it. And we got here about 8:30.
We're guaranteed a spot, yes, but not together in a row.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're here early, so we could try to do the best we can to get everybody close together.
Make sure that the whole thing is level.
Good morning. Good morning, how are you? Real good, y'all doing all right?
We get up here at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. The line is probably 70, 80 cars deep. By the time we open the gates at 8 a.m., we probably got over 100 cars easy in line just waiting to get in. We usually have 5 clerks that work checking registration, putting people in campsites.
How many?
Plus we'll have 2 or 3 people outside, 30, 40, selling day use passes.
60, 80, 100.
Takes about 40 minutes to get 200 cars through.
Yes, sir.
One is all.
$2 your chain, sir.
All right, well, happy 4th of July.
It's a lot of work.
Have a good day.
We're tired after it's over.
Garner started out in the 1930s as a small civilian conservation corps park with about 600 acres. Today, it covers over 1,400 acres and has more than 400 campsites.
There's really not a lot of difference between a bigger weekend and a smaller weekend in the summer. Most of our sites will be filled to capacity. So we like to be out there and be visible so people can have access to us, and if they need anything, they can let us know. It's good to be seen.
The best place to be seen at Garner is on the dance floor.
The dance has actually been going on since 1940s. I mean, it's the only place that you'll ever see this go on.
Every night during the summer, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, the old CCC Pavilion is the scene of something that has to be experienced to be believed.
We may have 400 people on that dance floor doing the line dance, or 300 people out there doing it together. It's a pretty amazing sight.
While the jukebox leans heavily to country, no one really seems to care what's playing, as long as they can dance to it.
It's a great bonding experience. Families can do it together. They can dance with their kids. Teenagers don't care. It's not a time to be cool or not cool. They do it because it's fun. This is Rockin' Robin by Michael Jackson. There's probably 200 kids on the dance floor right now doing the bunny hop. Only at Garner.
We usually just eat together. You know, we just make a big, huge breakfast. Never cooked this much. 18 eggs.
For the Fuentes and the Moyas and the rest of their group, the plan for the day is don't plan the day.
Whenever anyone stirs, breakfast is on. If you're up, you're up. If you're not, you're not. Y'all want to do that? Yeah.
Not like you're at Fiesta, Texas or Schlitterbahn where you're scheduled to do so many activities before the park closes.
We're having brunch.
You have to hurry up and do nothing.
Many of the activities at Garner, like swimming in the Frio, have stayed the same over the years. But one thing has changed for the Fuentes group. These days, their vacation lasts a little longer.
The times that we started coming, it was only for 2 nights, 3 days. We as kids were always upset because we spent a whole day unpacking and driving. So then it became 4 days and then 5 days. And there was times where we spent like a whole week out here, and it was awesome.
It's different here. I mean, we're not roughing it, but it's camping and you're supposed to be having a good time with family. Having a good time, just period, that's all you're gonna be worrying about. Camping's not as boring as everybody thinks it is.
While the older folks hang back and take it easy, the younger and more enthusiastic members of the group make their annual trek to the top of Garner's one and only mountain.
We stop?
We have Baldy. It's a mountain we call Baldy. I say a mountain. It's about a 400-foot vertical rise.
She's MacGyver by herself, Miss MacGyver.
And it's pretty much straight up climb.
I want to go up there.
Better be careful.
There's a place up in the mountain where it's a real thin cave where we call it the air-conditioned cave. It's really cool.
It feels good in here.
So we stop there and that's where we take our main break.
They want to take a picture. Get as close as you can so they can take a picture.
3/4 the way, almost there, and then it's all downhill, literally, all downhill. I've known all these people since they've actually helped raise me when they were here. They didn't want me to go out hanging out with them and stuff. Oh, you're too young. Now that I'm older, I can go hang out with them, have a good time, see what they get to do that I couldn't do, which wasn't a lot. We made it. We're going, it's hot, we're tired, we're sweaty, we smell. And
I ripped my pants on the way up.
Yeah.
Let's get a shot of that.
Hey! Garner State Park! Woo!
For the members of the Fuentes family and their friends, these yearly trips to Garner State Park give them a little extra time together. It's an event that no one really wants to miss.
Last year was actually my first year in my whole life to not come because I was going to school year round. I guess you don't realize how much it's a part of you until you actually miss out. I was not going to skip it again. No way.
There's so many things that a family can do here. I think that's the biggest draw. They know they can come here and they can have the best time of their life.
And if you're thinking about starting your own Garner family tradition, you might just have to get in line. There's a good chance these guys have already made their reservations for the next 4th of July. This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.